Well, that might help.
A little bit.
Now that the audio is on.
Yes, thank you, Chase. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jiminy Crickets on a pogo stick.
Current situations with celebrities, and then you get the connection with Madagascar of all films.
Yeah. So, Chase, I know you don't keep up with us, and you missed what we were saying a minute ago. Apparently, at the Oscars the other night,
Yep.
Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith because of a bad joke made at Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's expense.
Mhm.
Interesting little side note. Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith are both in Madagascar, the movie, which we have not reviewed one of yet.
All four of them.
Yeah. Apparently, you're way too low. I see you now.
Ah.
Sorry. Probably had it turned down when I was streaming the other night.
Probably.
But now I'm seeing both of us on the red lights here. So yeah.
Oh, good.
We are being picked up.
Good.
By the way, Mike is spelled M-I-C in that, but yeah.
So why am I hearing a feedback? Oh,
probably your phone.
Probably my phone.
Good chance of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Also, I didn't tell you this before. One of you'll see I already started updating
the
list, so throw some of your stuff in there.
I got you.
Anyway.
Start making movie selections now. Thank you very much.
Please. Although I am going to continue I'm going to continue making stuff up through October or up through the end of September when our theme months start.
Got it.
But anyway.
Yes.
Jacob is still low, but louder than he was. Well, there's just no keeping you happy, Chase.
You, is there?
Hang on. I'm going to have to bring it up now so I can get it here. Where's Twitch? There's Twitch.
Twitch.
And channel. Okay. Audio only. There's Twitch. Okay. Talk, please.
Rello.
It's got to make it through the thing. Okay, we should be good now.
We're good.
Kill Twitch on my phone.
Nice.
Hey, Ice Climber Buffalo. Yes, we are reviewing Lupin the Third, specifically the first.
The first.
Because that's not confusing.
No, of course not. With all the other Lupin the Third movies.
Especially since after watching the movie, I still don't know why it's called Lupin the Third, the first.
Because it's based after it's certain relative.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
kind of. That's very.
He's very taking on his grandfather's legacy, so he's Lupin the First.
But he's not Lupin the First anyway.
Technically, he's Lupin the Second.
No, technically he's Lupin the Third because he's the grandson of Arsène Lupin.
True.
From before World War I.
That is true.
That is how that works. Because technically, this movie takes place in the 70s. Except. Well, I guess it does say a decade or so in that thing, so I'll let that slide. But anyway,
yes,
we will be starting here momentarily.
Yes, let everybody in their
slowly come in.
Yeah, slowly come in. Their selective chat rooms they want to chat in.
Ish.
Oh,
voice cast on this was interesting, by the way.
I can imagine. Definitely have to deal with that lip flap.
It was okay for the most part.
It was good, except
we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. I guess the main problem I had was like a certain character. All of his lip flap was very over exaggerated
because it's based off the original animation style of the cartoon.
Exactly.
It's 3D, but it's not Western 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got some. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that because there are some things that have issues
Okay.
because of the adaptation of the 2D art style to that 3D
Yeah,
format.
agree.
But we'll get to that. We'll get there when we get there.
Right.
Also, I'd like to point out I had a lot of Kingdom Hearts connections that went into Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I left most of them out. I had
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
other Kingdom Hearts connections. So the only Smash Brother connections I'm going to make are the stuff that they were also in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay. And apparently,
So yeah,
Kingdom-
all the one that was actually also a Pokemon from like the latest gens. Yeah, that's not coming in.
Oh, okay.
Well, I say that one of them is, but anyway. Somebody else just went live on Twitch.
Yay.
No, not in our chat room. Someone else went live that I follow,
I gathered.
namely Geek Devotions.
Oh, okay. Hey, Geek Devotions, come over here for a few minutes.
No, he's busy. They're
Ah.
playing Kirby tonight.
Kirby.
Yeah, the new Kirby.
Kirby. No idea.
Oh, I thought you were actually singing the theme song to Kirby right back at you.
No, I don't know that theme song.
You don't know that song?
No, I don't know the theme song. And
you
of
were
course,
very close. Strangely enough.
Well, it was 4 kids.
Well, yeah, it's not like it's rip roaring. It's not the greatest in musical quality, we'll say.
Right. Okay.
You were very close.
I was close. I was very close.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I assume you have a pun for me.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, hang on, I gotta look up one other thing.
By the way, how do you pronounce the inspector's name?
Zenigata.
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 Yeah.
Got it.
Or you can just say inspector, because after a while, some of these names I'm going to mess up, especially the Japanese ones.
Right. Oh, that felt good.
By the way, with this episode, we will officially be breaking Godwin's Law.
Okay.
Or not breaking, we'll actually be fulfilling it.
Okay.
Godwin's Law is a law that says any conversation, no matter how long it goes on the internet, will eventually come back to Hitler. And Hitler is technically in this movie?
Technically. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's just fun, interesting facts.
Oh, okay. I never knew that. Godwin's
Law.
Godwin's Law.
But anyway.
You ready? Yeah, let's do this.
All right. Deedlet, are you ready? Awesome. Well, then go ahead and start us on the intro.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, he just can't get his diary open. Welcome, Jacob.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt when you don't know the combination of your own diary, and you got to figure it out by using a girl that you know, whatever. It's complicated. Why? Thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who, being very inspired by the Inspector's movie, Drew. Welcome, Drew. He always says Lupin.
Oh yeah, because he's always wanting to get Lupin.
Lupin.
Right.
Welcome, Drew.
So how are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I am doing very well. It has been a very long. It's been a good week. It's been a long week. and it's only Tuesday.
I agree.
Yeah.
It has been a very long wait because I'm stuck working 12-hour shifts Monday through Thursday.
Oh,
Right
poor
now.
brother. Poor
So I
brother.
literally got off work an hour ago.
Ugh.
So yeah, hopefully I won't just crash in the middle of the stream.
Yeah, let's hope not, because that would be kind of weird trying to control over here.
No offense, you would probably get lost.
Ow! Burn!
No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Okay.
I mean, thankfully everything's kind of running automatically.
Yeah.
It'd be really good once this music finally finishes because for some reason Riverside increases the volume even though I have it set to turn down,
That is weird.
which is annoying.
I think
It sounds worse in our live stream than it does on the actual
Right.
show.
Right.
My apologies for that. And now I'm vamping until I can scroll down.
Well, just keep
All right.
vamping.
So, trivia time for this week. Who was Lupin III's grandfather's nemesis that he went up against in his first story?
It's very.
There are two acceptable answers.
It's very elementary.
Yes, indeed. You gonna say it or not?
I'll let them say it.
Oh, okay. Well, technically, both Josh Adams and David Gardner, while they answered differently, both got it right.
Right.
Because Josh Adams said Sherlock Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
which after the copyright laws finally got invented, they had to change it to, as David Gardner put it, Herlock Sholmes. Because, yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think this is one of the things that caused copyright to really be a thing
Yeah, I can
at this
imagine.
point, especially internationally, is my understanding, which is
Yeah.
ironic when you consider Lupin the Third got in trouble with the estate of Maurice Leblanc, the guy who wrote the original Arsène Lupin
Yeah.
stories, because they didn't legally get the rights to do so
Oh.
when Monkey Punch created the manga and the anime. So that's why they always have to call him pronounce his name in the Japanese way of Lupin instead of Lupin, as is a little easier to see.
Okay, gotcha.
Actually, I don't
Makes
even
sense.
know if in French if you say Lupin or Lupin or whatever, but they have to put the stress on the A legally.
Lupin.
Except now it no longer matters. You want to know why?
Why?
Because all of the Lupin, the original Lupin novels are in public domain.
Okay.
So it no longer matters. But anyway.
So Lupin.
Yeah, but they're still going Lupin now because that's the closest to the thing. Also, that's why when we did Castle Cagliostro, you'll remember the even though we watched the newest dub of that,
Yeah.
their first English dub did not call him Lupin.
Yeah, they called him
Wolf
Wolf. Oh.
because of Lupine.
Yeah, Lupine.
And they were not sure if they could actually use the name Lupin in the show. In fact, the original one was just called The Castle of Cagliostro. The Lupin the Third title wasn't even on it.
Huh.
But anyway, I am just going crazy vamping here again. Anything? What did you do this week?
Let's see. I visited my parents over the weekend. Had a great time. Was able to get a few things done. Watched the TV show and had something very interesting happen, which I won't repeat here. I'll talk to Drew later on it. This was interesting.
Really?
Yes, it was very interesting. I'm not going to tell you guys because that's a little weird. It's nothing bad. It's just be like it was something that happened, something that got settled very easily, and it's no longer an issue.
I can unplug the soundboard and you can tell me.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
So just there again, something weird happened. Nothing bad, just weird. Either or. Let's see. Got a few things rearranged in my apartment. I am this week's going pretty good. It's been a long week. I'm going bowling with my girlfriend this Saturday, and then next Saturday we're going to a Stars game, or in more case, the Dallas Stars hockey game.
Ah.
Yeah.
The Friday after. Well, sorry. This Friday is not the Sonic movie. It's next Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, it's gonna be this Saturday.
Right, but we're going to be watching it on the Friday, the Sonic movie on the Friday, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on track.
When are we ever on track on this show?
What's a track?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know what the track is. That's what those trains go by over
exactly.
here and interrupt our show in the middle of.
Or it's this. Trek.
You want me to smack you, don't you?
Yeah, just pull a Will Smith on me. Come on.
Whack!
Man.
Which,
that
by the
was
way, we realize because of current events, we are going to have to review Madagascar soon.
Yes. If you don't know
because Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith are both in that movie.
yes.
All 4 of them, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So
Well, hang on. Actually, I need to talk about what I
Yes.
did.
What have you been doing?
So here's the thing. Between our podcast that we normally do,
Yes.
the guest hosting that we did on Monster Island Film Vault,
Yes.
that was recorded live but has not been released yet.
Do we have a release date yet?
No.
Okay.
We'll get there he'll get there when he gets there is kind
Got
of what I understand. He's got
Yeah.
he's got 2 episodes
Yeah.
that need to be released before ours.
Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of time on that.
Yeah.
But we had that plus at the very last minute, I got pulled onto Com Talk by Geek Devotions, one of our fellow Culture Box members, to review Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, number 1. Actually, there was no morphing sequence in the book.
What? Or at least in the first episode?
No,
Is she what?
there was no morphing sequence. The Green Ranger is already morphed before the story begins.
Okay.
The
Interesting.
others teleport, or we see them not morphed, but then they teleport in and they're morphed. Between scenes, they morphed somewhere off screen.
Huh.
Maybe they're saving that for the last one when somehow Godzilla morphs with them. I don't know.
The turtles did it.
Exactly. That's why I can't just say, oh, it's not going to happen that way. But hey,
Right.
actually, more than likely, somehow the Zords are going to combine onto Godzilla as they fight Mecha Godzilla. I guess. I don't know. Find out in 5 months. 4 months. Whatever.
Lizard Zord.
Well, I mean, technically, Dragon Zord is Mecha Godzilla. He's based on Mecha Godzilla.
Very true.
So, anyway, that's neither here nor there. Other than that, other than working 12-hour a day,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a normal week.
Mm.
What have you been watching?
Well, before that, you mentioned the Com Talk
Yes.
podcasts, and I keep thinking it's like, when are they going to do the Godzilla versus Power Rangers animated movie? Because that will be freaking epic.
Oh, you mean when are they going to make Godzilla versus
Yeah.
Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that's going to be?
Yeah.
Legally?
Hard.
The comic book, I only barely probably squeaked away with it.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Oh, you never know.
You got to get Toho and Toei, who owns the Super Sentai, who technically owns most of the Ranger suit designs.
Mhm.
Then you got to get Hasbro on
Mhm.
in this, and then you got to get I don't know, but probably some other people. I can't think off the top of my
Right.
head because you're not bringing in the comics unless you're going to adapt the comic book.
Mhm.
So then you have to get both Boom Studios and IDW
Mhm.
to go along with it. That's already 5 people there, and that's if you're just adapting the comic they're doing now.
Mhm.
I mean, the visual comic alone would be horrendous unless it's already figured out. I don't know how they're getting away with the comic book, to be honest. But yeah, it's never going to happen.
I thought it'd be
But as a
interesting.
certain bird in a certain mouse movie once said, never say never.
True.
Ironically, also by we just did 2 of his movies recently.
Oh, you're talking about oh wow, I'm using nerd animation points here. Don
Rockadoodle
Bluth.
and-
Don
Don
Bluth.
Bluth.
Don Bluth.
Thank you.
Don Bluth.
Like another Don Bluth movie
Hmm.
once said that involved a mouse and a bird that thankfully was not Giacomo.
Thank the Lord.
Never say never. Although I think his song was just about as annoying. But moving on.
Yes.
Moving on. What have you been watching?
So I was over at my parents' place this weekend, and they decided that my dad was going to watch something Marvel-ish, as in the Marvel Studios movies. And
Okay.
so he was looking at, I believe it was like the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, the
And
show?
yeah. So my brother Jim was like, it's like, no, you gotta watch WandaVision first.
No, you don't. Those two shows have virtually nothing to do
Oh,
with each
I
other.
know.
I mean, WandaVision's a very good show.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong.
Right.
But technically, yeah, you could watch either one of those in any order because by all technical accounts, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was originally supposed to be out first. But anyway.
Yeah. So we wound up watching the entire, I think, 9 episodes of WandaVision.
Good show.
Yeah. So I think this is the first time I'm actually watching it on like a actual television, because beforehand I was watching it on my phone. So yeah, the days before I had internet on my apartment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. Like, wow, oh wow, this is really good. Oh my gosh, immediately you can see the strings of what's
Yeah.
going on before. It's like, oh my gosh, do not let this person in your house. No spoilers if you have not watched.
That was not a
WandaVision.
spoiler. That was just a melody line whisper.
Oh, I know that. But it's just like no spoilers. If you have not seen WandaVision, go watch it. It's an amazing show. If you're a comic nerd to just a regular TV viewer, go watch WandaVision.
Oh, if you enjoy classic sitcoms,
yes,
well,
exactly.
I know somebody in our chat will disagree with me, but if you like classic sitcoms and can appreciate an update and a making fun of somewhat lovingly mocking, go watch WandaVision.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all right. So we watched that, and as I was doing my notes, because I had been trying to go through this series because I loved it when it came on, and I've watched the entire series through already once before, and I'm rewatching Transformers Prime on Netflix, which is really good. And I have to say is big props to Steve Bloom, who voices Starscream. It's just like, oh my gosh, genius. Like the fact that they got Megatron Welker, Frank Welker, and sorry, I always think Frank
Megatron Welker, I love
that. Oh, and Peter Optimus Prime,
Peter Cullen
to reprise their roles from the original show, and then you get just like the cream of the crop, amazing voice actor of Bloom to do Starscream. If you've never heard it, it's amazing. Go watch it. It's on Netflix. If you subscribe to Netflix, we know most people are, and you have a nostalgia for 80s cartoons like I do, or just really, really good animation or really good storytelling, it's worth a watch. I think I just finished the episode where the kids get trapped in a fourth dimension with a zombified Decepticon. And they have to use a severed arm to get out of there.
Zombie robot.
Yeah, zombie robot.
Interesting.
Yeah, something to do with Dark Energon.
Dark Energon.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Bat Technobabble to me.
Bat Technobabble?
Well, I got to thinking about it because I like the old Batman series, and they like to explain like over everything, but they always put the bat branding on the front of certain words. So Bat Technobabble is kind of what that is.
Or like
what I'm calling it now.
Like Star Trek.
No, that's just regular Technobabble.
Oh, okay.
Bat Technobabble is when your Technobabble has some sort of branding that only works on your show.
Yeah, makes sense.
And anytime the word Energon is going to be used, that is definitely Transformers.
Very true.
But anyway.
All right. So yeah, that is all I've been watching. So what have you been watching, Drew, or playing?
What have I been watching and or playing? I haven't had a chance to watch a whole too much in the past week because, there was those 3 episodes of Godzilla the series that needed to get watched.
Yes.
But I watched that before then. But, life happens.
Yes.
And with 12-hour days, I don't get a chance to watch much of anything. Play-wise, I, of course, played Super Mario RPG Saturday. I pulled off for the first time in that game a perfectly timed Geno whirl.
Okay.
And what that is, for those who don't know, Super Mario RPG's battle system has this thing called timed hits, where after you start the attack, if you press the button at just the right time, you do more damage.
Okay.
With Geno whirl, it's a little bit different from most normal timed attacks,
Mm-hmm.
because most timed attacks, you go from like maybe 50 damage to like 70 damage, a little bit better, but
Yeah.
not end of the world. Geno whirl, if you time it just right, 9,999 damage.
Wow.
And you have to hit it just as the cutter leaves the screen.
Mm.
And I'm convinced there is only one frame in which it works. One scan one picture where it actually works.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about. And I pulled it off twice on stream.
Wow.
So
Very
go
nice.
check that out, because that was a lot of fun for me. Of course, played some Dragon Quest 11 last night. I am in the second half of that game. I was a fish for part of it.
Fish.
A fish.
Mm.
Apparently, that's how my character was saved. And also, I got to hear... There was a great point, my character's name in that is Trunks, because for some reason, I thought he kind of looked like future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z,
Right.
but he really looks more like Android 17.
Mm.
But I still already named the character Trunks. And there's a point where you're going through somebody's memories, specifically your grandfather's, and he remembers the day you were born and when you were named. But of course, because of technical limitations, they can't have anyone actually say your customized name.
Right.
So they're talking about, it's like, well, I wouldn't name him that, my dear, but if you want to name him that, sure, go ahead. Then his name shall be, and then the grandfather sneezes so hard you can't hear what name they said, but you can, but you see in the chat window your character's name. It's like, that was well done.
Yes.
That's a good way around that, because we know that there's no way you can actually say the character's name. But that was a lot of fun last night. And then I made two game purchases technically this weekend.
Okay.
One was the new Kirby and the Forgotten Land game.
Okay.
It came out Friday.
Yeah.
And then I played a little bit of it. It's actually a very good 3D platformer.
Okay.
Reminds me a little bit gameplay wise of like Super Mario 3D World. Give an idea as to what kind of game it's like. And then I also purchased a bundle of the 6 original Final Fantasy games, the Pixel Remaster version.
Pixel Remaster.
Yes. Basically, it's updated from the original games are updated to 16-bit instead of just being 8-bit. But they've gone through and made it look really good on, like, they all have like deeper colors and are closer to Amano's art style.
Okay.
Generally. And the music is all orchestrated.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying it. Now, I'm not playing that on stream. I am playing that for my own benefit.
All right.
So, sorry if Dragon Quest 11 had finished like I thought it was going to last 3 weeks ago, y'all would be watching me play that. But nope, now I'm just going to be playing it by myself. So neener, boo boo. Other than that, I think the only other things I've had a chance to watch have been YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I saw one where they made an actual piano talk.
Like actually talk instead of just... Did they play it to make it talk, or?
It was obviously being controlled through like a MIDI controller somehow, but it was actually the keys moving up and down, but it was done in such a way where you could hear words.
Interesting.
But in order for it to actually work, you actually had to have subtitles on the screen for you to hear the words because of how our brains work.
Interesting.
Yes. It's very interesting. But yeah, other than that, that's about all I have watched.
I got you.
So what do we got in the news besides Chris Rock smacking
Are getting
getting smacked by Will Smith
So speaking
15 years after Madagascar 1.
So good segue. So the Oscars, the Academy of Motion Pictures, also known as the Oscars, presented its 29th event Sunday afternoon, March 27th, broadcast on ABC and live stream on multiple platforms from the LA Dolby Theater in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Encanto won favorite animated feature film for directors and producers. This is the fourth category of victor for Disney featured animation. And it goes into something really interesting. The best animated feature category began in 2001 with Shrek, becoming the first winner. And for the 20 years, Disney has won 14 times. The only non-Disney movies to win were Shrek, Spirited Away, Wallace and Gromit, Curse the Were-Rabbit, Happy Feet, Rio, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Good choices.
Yes. All right. So the movies that were up for best animated feature were Flea, a movie I've never heard of, Luca, which we have reviewed, The Mitchells vs. Machines, which we reviewed.
We've reacted to.
We have reacted to. And a movie we've also reacted to was Raya and the Last Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And a movie we also reacted to, which was Encanto, which won.
I kind of figured that would be the one that would win because it came out the most recent.
Yeah.
And people I can't find the news post I saw because let's face it, everything besides Chris Rock getting slapped kind of got lost in the news feed.
Yeah.
But they literally said, I think on the Oscars from what I saw, that the person who was presenting the award said that, let's face it, we all know these movies are for kids. And the only reason I saw Encanto was because my kid wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's not how this works.
No, it's not.
Y'all people, animation is cinema also.
Exactly.
It ain't just you live action nerds. Sorry.
Bill, I understand you want to express yourself artistically in the real world live action, but also animators do the exact same thing.
At the same time, it's like you just shot yourself in the foot from any animation studio wanting to use your voice.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never going to be on a cartoon now, so bye-bye.
You are the weakest voice actor. Goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, so going into favorite shorts, Afraid of the Art, Bestie, Box Ballad, Robin Hood, and the winner was the Windshield Wiper, which I've never heard of.
Never heard of any of those.
No. So going into
the shorts?
Yes,
okay.
Shorts. And I just thought that was interesting. Best visual, best visual effects was Free Guy. Haven't seen that one. No Time to Die.
Good movie.
I know you saw it. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Good movie.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Good movie.
And the winner was Dune.
Also a good movie.
Yeah. Which I need to watch.
Yeah, you do.
Hopefully it's not 3 hours like the original one. In a snore fest.
It is 3 hours and it's only half the movie.
Oh, okay.
Because the other half will be coming out later.
That's true.
So the problem of them rushing the ending is not going to be an issue this time.
That is true.
Whether or not you fall asleep, that's another matter.
That is. And the only other bit of news, a very faithful listener to our show, Heather Morgan, caught my attention with this one. Apparently, it's the 20th anniversary yesterday of your favorite game.
I never said it was my favorite game franchise, but it is definitely one of my favorite game franchises.
Exactly.
So much
Kingdom
so
Hearts.
that there's one Keyblade on the back wall over here. And yeah, would you believe though that in a recent Mickey Mouse cartoon that came out.
I saw that.
Mickey's Keyblade, specifically Kingdom Key D, makes an appearance in a box of Mickey's belongings that Minnie's getting ready to throw out.
I like
At least that's what it looks like from the picture. I've not seen the whole cartoon yet. But it looks like Mickey must have made her mad, and she's throwing all his stuff out on the yard.
So I mean, like it's so unique because be like how big of a fanboy, how huge of a fan he is of Kingdom Hearts, that he knows what Keyblade it is.
Hey, it's Mickey's Keyblade. He only ever had 2.
Okay.
Correction, 3.
Okay.
And yes, I could tell by looking at it which one it was, because it's literally that one back there, but with the colors inverted.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyways,
that was interesting. So happy 20th anniversary to Kingdom Hearts.
One day we will have to get back to that playthrough.
Yes, we will. Or eventually they'll make an animated series out of it and we'll review it.
Really, I don't know why Disney hasn't hired some anime studio to make this yet.
Yeah, come on.
Come
on, Disney.
Other than the story is downright, and I don't mean this into the pun, it's going to sound like goofy.
Yuck.
It's going to be downright goofy. But anyway.
Oh, I did forget. I think it was like late last week before I went to go visit my parents. I was watching Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. So that's always fun.
Yes. All right. So we're ready to get into the spoiler-free section of this review.
Yes.
Lupin the Third, the First. Obviously, this is my first viewing of the film. And literally the only other Lupin the Third stuff I've ever watched has been Castle Cagliostro, of course, because we did that back as our first movie of Miyazaki month, way back in November of 2019. And I have watched a couple episodes of Lupin the Third Part 1, the first series, which unfortunately is, from what I can tell, is still only available subtitled. But c'est la vie.
Right.
Lupin the Third is just fun to watch. And it's one of those things where I don't know if there is an entry out there I would not suggest.
Oh, okay.
But this is definitely a fun one. I'm not sure how well it works in 3D, but I still enjoyed it. It was still a very fun movie.
Yeah, agreed. So where did you watch it?
I watched it on Amazon. I rented it for $5.
Wow. Okay.
That's where I watched it. And I think it was worth it.
Okay. All right. So also this is my first viewing of Lupin the Third, the First.
It's a weird name.
Yes, it is. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sat down, relaxed, made myself a steak, ate dinner while eating while watching this movie.
Yes.
And it was very enjoyable. Minus I was playing it, and I watched on an Apple TV, on Apple TV app, and I'm watching it, and it's in Japanese with English subtitles. I'm like, what in the world's going on?
You picked the wrong one.
No. Let me finish. So I'm sitting there. It's like, what is going on? Because I go back to the menu, and it's like it's in English. It's the G Kids distributed. I'm like, okay, so why is it still in? And then I'm like, wait a minute, let me go to settings on the app. And sure enough, it's on odd. It goes to
it defaulted to the Japanese version.
It defaults to its standard. So I just switch it to English, and it's like, oh, okay, thank you.
See, that was the funny thing about Amazon, because I brought it up and it listed 4 entries.
Okay.
I don't remember what the last 2 were, other than I think they were. Anyway, the first 2, one was Lupin the Third English dub, and one was Lupin the Third Japanese dub. So it was literally an entirely different movie. And I'm sitting here thinking, could y'all not have just put a language selector on your player and only have 1 entry? Because what would have happened if I'd accidentally got the Japanese version, rented it for $5, and ended up having noted it was the English version?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's got to have happened.
Right.
So yeah, there's that. I'm sure that's just something Amazon never ever thought they'd ever have to worry about.
Probably not.
But anyway,
Yeah. So I found the movie very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. There's little issues here and there. Now, granted, be like the animation style is so well done in trying to emulate
70s anime animation.
exactly. So yeah, there's little foibles here and there when it comes to it, but overall, I really enjoyed it. It's really worth a watch. It's there's parts of it it makes you think. It makes you think for a minute, but it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. Oh, you feel really bad for this character by this point, and it's like, ow.
Well, except if it's the character I'm thinking of that you're referring to, I had it figured out in the first 5 minutes when I realized this person was a major character.
Yeah. Oh, I did
and not
too.
just a random background character.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's like, oh, I bet I know who this how all this is connected. And
right.
Guess what? I was correct.
Yes.
But anyway.
So it was more when the character discovered this revelation about herself.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man.
See, I went to so much trouble
I knew it fairly early on.
So much trouble to not even reveal a gender, and you just go ahead and pop that out.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Either or.
We're in the spoiler-free section. Trying not to spoil.
That is true.
But anyway.
It could be another female character in the movie.
Oh, yeah, because it's definitely going to be Fujiko.
Yeah, it's definitely
the
Fujiko.
one who's been in like every single Lupin the Third thing.
Spoiler alert, it's Fujiko.
Yes. She's secretly a princess. You never knew this was coming.
Dun, dun, dun.
Actually, there is one that's about her called The Secret of Fujiko Mine, and I don't know what it's about. But it's it focuses on her. So yeah. Anyway,
interesting.
Are you ready to jump into the spoilers before we get too far into this?
Yeah.
All right. Join us on the other side, and we will get to spoiling this thing. Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob, and on our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for, and you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. Well, YouTube has been quiet this whole time, which is about normal.
Yeah.
And Chase mostly was helping us with sound earlier, but at the very end, right before we went on started the actual show, and I mentioned that thing about Godwin's Law, he said, "Godwin's Law, yes, haha." And And then over on the Twitch side, we have Ice Climber Buffalo. Very happy we're reviewing Lupin the Third. He mentions that the intro to Lupin was Castle of intro to Lupin was Castle of Cagliostro.
Same.
Was the second movie, so yeah. And then he says, also love how Lupin Third meets Detective Conan is harkening back to Sherlock Holmes versus Lupin. So that may have to go on the list. Do you know who Detective Conan is?
Not really.
It's not an anime that's made a big splash.
Is he
over here.
the little?
He's the
little
kid. He's a attorney who got turned into a little kid, or a detective that got turned into a little kid, and he's solving crimes that way.
Right.
And he's been going on for his show has literally been going on for 30 years over in Japan.
Wow.
And we almost have no any of his releases legally over here. But over here they have to call it case closed.
Yeah.
Anyway, you ready to jump into this?
Yes.
All right. Give me a Mark Dealet. Thank you. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Lupin the Third: The First. Listener discretion is advised. Lupin the Third: The First was written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki. How do you say that again? Lupin the Third was written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki, who also directed Dragon Quest: Your Story. It came out last year, I think.
Okay.
Of course, it's based on the original characters created by, and I'm not kidding on the name here, Monkey Punch. That is the pseudonym for the creator, who did pass like right before this movie came out.
Yeah, like 6 months before the film was released.
And of course, this is technically the entire Lupin the Third franchise is a pseudo sequel to the Arsène Lupin novels by Maurice Leblanc. Cast included Tony Oliver as Arsène Lupin III, and way back on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, specifically season 2, he was the voice of Saba.
Really?
Yeah.
He was the voice of Saba.
Few times Saba actually talked.
Huh.
He was the voice of Saba. Richard Epcar was the voice of Daisuke Jigen. And in the Bang Zoom dub of Dragon Ball Z, aka the original dub also of Dragon Ball Z, he was Captain Ginyu.
Oh, okay. Ginyu Force.
Yes. Lex Lang is the voice of Goemon Ishikawa the 13th, and additional voices. And in the Crash Bandicoot series, he's the voice of Dr. Neo Cortex. That series' main villain.
Gotcha.
Michelle Ruff voiced Fujiko Mine, and she's the current voice of Luna in the Sailor Moon series over here.
Really?
Yeah. Doug Erholtz played Inspector Koichi Zenigata and additional voices, and he was Vega in Street Fighter V. Laurie Heems was the voice of Letitia, and in Pokemon Sun and Moon, the movie, the TV show, she was the voice of Lily, the main girl character on that one.
Okay.
The Misty, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But I could be wrong because I didn't watch much of Sun and Moon. But anyway, I know the character is also in the games Pokemon Sun and Moon, but they're not. She's not voiced there. So anyway, David Bremer was the voice of Lambert, and he was also the voice of Makoto Yamamoto in The Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
Oh, okay.
I found an excuse to bring him up.
Oh my gosh.
I love that show. Paul Gouillet voiced Gerard, and in League of Legends, he voices a character named Urgot. I apologize to all the League of Legends fans for probably mispronouncing that name. And then Mark Thompson was the voice of Bresson and additional voices. And he was the voice of the Pokedex in Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, He's also like the narrator of like 90% of the Star Wars audiobooks.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Kingdom Hearts connections. Richard Epcar, the voice of Daisuke Jigen in this,
Mhm.
he is also the voice of Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, Xehanort, and Terra Xehanort
Oh.
in Kingdom Hearts. Yes, those are all separate characters, technically. Doug Erholtz, who was the English voice of Zenigata, was also in Kingdom Hearts, was the voice of Leon, aka Squall.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle Ruff, who was Fujiko in this, was additional voices.
Hmm.
In the Japanese version, however, Koichi Yamadera was the voice of the Japanese Zenigata.
Hmm.
And in Kingdom Hearts, he is the voices of Beast, Genie, Mushu, Sebastian, Jacques, Stitch, and Donald Duck in Kingdom Hearts. And he's also in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the voice of Mew and Marshadow.
Nice.
Kaisuke Namikawa was the voice of Goemon Ishikawa the 13th. And in the Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts, he was the voice of young Ericus. And in Smash Brothers, he is the voice of both Lucario and Mimikyu.
Hmm.
Mimikyu is the Pokemon that looks like someone made a Pikachu costume out of a trash bag. If you don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, that's the end of the Kingdom Hearts connections. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So info and stuff. All right. So its IMDb score is a 6.3 out of 10. You can watch it either on where Drew watched it on Amazon Prime. I watched it on Disney Plus. I wish it was on Disney Plus, but it's not. Apple Plus is Apple TV.
Apple TV.
It's on Apple TV, and I paid $4.99. He paid $4.99.
Yeah, and it's like on YouTube and
everywhere else.
Pretty much any place where you can rent the thing, it's
Yeah.
there.
All right, so its production was done by TMS Entertainment and Marza. I'm probably
I think
pronouncing
it's
it.
Marza.
Yeah, Marza Animation Planet. It was distributed in Japan by Toho, and in the United States, it was distributed by G Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Its release date. So, can you guess, Drew, where it was first screened?
I saw this somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember. I just know it didn't. It was the only theatrical showing it got because of COVID.
Thanks, COVID.
I don't remember. France.
No, actually, Tokyo.
That also makes sense. That makes more sense than France.
So it was first showed in Tokyo on October 18th, 2019, and then on December 6th, 2019 in Japan, and then we didn't get it until here in the United States until September 22nd, 2020.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, thank you, COVID.
I would have loved to have seen this in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this being advertised when we went to see Weathering with You,
Yes.
saying it was coming up in the next couple months.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Thanks, COVID.
Thank you, COVID.
All right, so box office. If I can read through this correctly. All right, so Filipino Films distributor Pioneer Films revealed it will open Lupin the Third the First in the Philippines on January 29th, 2019. The Thai film it's talking about the films of which the trailers are being released. Let's see. All right, so starting on. Yep, thank you. So, due to COVID, it had been halted to be released in Italy, on. Yeah, so basically, due to COVID, this film has been delayed quite a bit throughout its production. And so it was released in 2019 and 2020, but also that was the time of the COVID, COVID, when COVID came out, and it just wreaked shock wreck shop and wreck the world in so many ways. Thanks, COVID. Okay, so getting to the part where we need to learn more about it. So G Kids agreed to a theater release November in the North America in the latter months of 2019. On September 22nd, 2020, G Kids released the teaser of the English dub of Loop on the Third the First. The film was confirmed to be ran in select North American theaters from October 18th of 2020. A supplement version featuring the Japanese cast was later put out on October 21st, 2020. Fathom Events distributed the film in the United States theaters on behalf of G Kids. Going to the box office. This is only the UK, or not the UK, but the United States and Canada. It doesn't give it does not give a estimated budget, so I could probably do a lot more digging and probably find the budget, but in the time frame which I had, I could not find it. So its opening weekend for the United States was fairly small. All right, so its opening was $83,000 and 83.29. Yeah, it was a pretty big number. It wasn't millions, but its U.S. gross was $245,000 and a lot of change, and its world gross was $7.5 million. So yeah, I don't know. It's anything that could give me any kind. Did it do well? Did it fail? What have you? But going home release. The DVD and Blu-ray of the film was released in Japan on June 3rd, 2020. A deluxe Blu-ray edition was released with a cover in the style of the I'm probably pronouncing it, Berstrom Diary, the diary which is in the movie. The edition included over 100 pages in the style of the diary. For G Kids and Shout Factory, the winter DVD release commented on was released on December 15th as a digital HD version, followed on January 12th, 2001. The Blu-ray DVD combo pack was released. A Steelbook edition of the Blu-ray combo pack was also manufactured with additional limited edition offers of a 18 by 24 lithograph while supplies last. A limited rerun of the film distributed by G Kids is planned, which we can still see in the theaters if you want to, is planned for the 29th through the 31st of August 2021.
That is assuming it is anywhere near here, as
Exactly.
most of the Fathom events have not come back to this area.
That is true.
Which is annoying.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any sequels in the pipeline right now. So that's it for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. In Nazi-occupied France, archaeologist Professor Bresson entrusts his heavily trapped diary and an amulet containing the key to the book to his family. The diary is purported to be the guide to an immense treasure called the Eclipse, which a group of Nazis working for Ahnenerbe is seeking. Bresson is killed by the arriving Germans. His family escapes but is chased down by Ahnenerbe Professor Lambert and ends up in a car crash, which only the infant daughter survives. Lambert steals the amulet, but is unable to find the diary, which was lost during the chase. In the 1960s, the diary resurfaces during a memorial exhibition in Bresson's honor. Lupin III tries to steal the book, as his grandfather had unsuccessfully attempted before him, only to be foiled first by a young woman disguised as a security guard, and then by Fujiko, of course, and to be arrested by Inspector Zenigata. On his way to prison, Lupin is sprung by his friends Jigen and Goemon and sneaks into the home of the fake security guard, a prospective archaeology student named Letitia Lambert. He presents a medal identical to the one stolen by Lambert, which his grandfather had left him. Letitia contacts Lambert, her adoptive grandfather, who ordered her to steal the book in the first place. Lambert tells her to bring Lupin and the amulet to him, in exchange for sending her to Boston University to study archaeology. Fujiko delivers the diary to a group of Ananerbe fugitives looking for the eclipse, among them Lambert and their leader Geralt. However, Geralt quickly discovers Fujiko's duplicity and has her detained. Letitia leads Lupin to Lambert's hideout, a customized transport plane, where they retrieve the book and the counterpart to Lupin's amulet. Lupin succeeds in opening the diary, and the two learn that the eclipse is a power generator left behind by a highly advanced lost civilization and is hidden in the ruins of Teotihuacan. Isn't that Mexico City?
Yeah.
Tenochtitlan, then. Because that word I know how to pronounce. Knowing Letitia had led him into a trap, Lupin willingly surrenders to Geralt and Lambert. Fujiko uses Lupin as a diversion to escape on her own. Lupin sneaks back into the plane and eavesdrops on Geralt and Lambert, learning in the process that they are seeking none other than Adolf Hitler, who reportedly faked his death and escaped to South America during the fall of Berlin, and is now intending to use the eclipse to resurrect the Third Reich. When Letitia, who has overheard the conversation, confronts the two men, Geralt throws her out of the plane, snatching the diary and the amulets back. Lupin jumps after her, and he and Letitia are then rescued by Fujiko, Jigen, and Goemon. Left stranded, Lupin summons Zenigata to his location and steals his Interpol helicopter. Zenigata manages to get back on board, and after learning of the stakes, he teams up with Lupin's gang and Letitia to thwart the villains. During a stopover, Lupin reveals to Letitia that he has deduced her to be Bresson's granddaughter and that Lambert adopted her only to get his hands on the diary and the eclipse. He also discovers that his grandfather had actually helped Bresson find the eclipse, but afterwards trapped the book to prevent the eclipse from falling into the wrong hands. Geralt and Lambert find the eclipse's hiding place, but are unable to proceed past its traps without the diary, forcing them to return to where they left Lupin. Exploiting their absence, Lupin's team makes it past the obstacles, but are forced to discover that their enemy's retreat was merely a ruse to clear the path to the eclipse. Lambert and Geralt activate the eclipse, which carries them and Letitia back to the surface, but Lupin's team intercepts them before they can escape, scuttling Lambert's plane. Lambert uses the eclipse to get the plane to fly again and activates a micro black hole to finish off Lupin's team, believing them dead. And drunk with power, he claims the device for himself and incinerates the diary. When he prepares to use the eclipse to destroy Berlin, Geralt fights him, and Letitia takes control of the device. Geralt shoots at her, but Lambert takes the bullets for her and dies. Right afterwards, Geralt receives the news that Hitler has been located and takes the eclipse and Letitia to him. When Geralt arrives at the Ananerbe headquarters, he meets with Hitler, and the two depart on the eclipse to test its capabilities. Left behind, Letitia discovers that Lupin's gang have beaten Geralt to the base with the help of Zenigata and Interpol, and Lupin has disguised himself as none other than Adolf Hitler. Back on the eclipse, Lupin reveals this to Geralt and attacks him, but Lupin tampers with the eclipse controls to release a micro black hole inside the eclipse. Geralt is sucked into the hole and perishes, while Lupin barely escapes with a gravity device he kept from the Teotihuacan ruins. After a fond but hasty goodbye to Letitia and gifting her with the gravity device that he had stolen earlier, and her enrollment into Boston, Lupin and his associates rush to escape Zenigata's ever-zealous attention. Getting into the trivia for this episode, this film is dedicated to Monkey Punch, the creator of Lupin III, who died in April 2019, 6 months before the film's release. Bringing Lupin III into the 3D format was one of Monkey Punch's most cherished goals, and before his passing, he was able to see a preview of the film's footage during post-production. When Monkey Punch saw the footage, he stated, "I have been looking forward to a 3D CG Lupin III for a long time. I've taken a look at the characters and story. It looks like this Lupin will come packed with new sensations, and I'm getting excited just thinking about how the film will turn out." Takashi Yamazaki cites Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro from 1979, as an influence on this film, describing it as one of his favorite films.
Hmm.
And last but not least, this movie theorizes about the possibility that Adolf Hitler was not dead in 1945, escaping from Germany in the days previous to the fall of Berlin in 1945 at the end of World War II and living hidden in Latino America.
Latin
is-
America.
Latin America, yes. It has been strongly theorized in the 70s when the film takes place that Hitler, as other members of the Third Reich staff, could have escaped to live hidden in Latin America. However, the lack of any evidence about it turned this conspiracy theory into an urban legend.
And also the fact be like being history, not myself.
He died.
Yeah, he died.
See,
Cyanide and a bullet to the head, and they found his jaw. Or correction, the Soviet Union found his jaw.
and I was really hoping you would wait until after I had said this bit of trivia before you said something, and I'm thankful you did,
Okay.
because I was going to have to interrupt you anyway. I just realized something. Did I mention who played Adolf Hitler earlier?
No, you didn't.
Because there was someone who played him. Because it wasn't Tony Oliver.
Yeah, I gather it didn't sound like Tony Oliver.
Hang on, I'm going to bring this up right quick.
It's like so who played the Führer?
I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
IMDb, Lupin 3, the first. Oh, by the way, Deela,
Yeah.
thank you, Deela. Where's my cast list? Top cast. Get past the
So
Japanese
cast.
cast. Hitler was voiced by River Kenoff.
River Kanoff.
Yes.
Okay.
And he is also voiced hang on, I'm bringing it up. Hi, Neko. We're just
Hi, Neko.
talking about Hitler right quick.
Yeah.
Come in
It's
at a
history,
great
come on.
time.
Yeah, it's history. Come on. Don't get me started.
Okay, in Pokemon, he's the voice of Obama Snow.
Obama Snow?
It's one of the Pokemon. Literally short for Abominable Snowman.
Oh, okay.
Not Obama Snow. Obama Snow.
I was gonna say a word.
Yes, but I know what it sounds like.
Yes.
Trust me. Yeah, and I don't see anything else of interest. But yeah. Okay. No, Neko, don't put a pic of Hitler on Discord.
Yeah, don't do that. Please don't do that.
All right.
You want a firestorm?
That is actually the end of my things.
Wow.
So yeah, likes and dislikes.
All
Your
right.
first like, my friend.
Oh my gosh. All right, so my first like, and here we go. The oh my gosh, the animation in this movie. I love the animation because they do very well adjust to using the 1970s animation style from Lupin the Third, Castle of Castiglione. How do you pronounce it?
Well, Castle Cagliostro is what you're trying to say,
Yes.
but I mean all of the Lupin the Third 2D
it's all
animation
the
from
very
this era.
similar art style.
Same animation style.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite feel like Miyazaki,
Right.
but I mean it fits what they were doing at the
Yeah.
time.
It does be like it's very fluid, definitely how Lupin moves. And it's just be like, oh, okay, it's like I'm watching the old cartoons or the old anime movies or what have you.
But in 3D.
In 3D, done very well. And they pick up on the subtle gestures of how Lupin moves.
Mm-hmm.
And Jigen?
Jigen.
Thank you.
I
Jigen.
love how they do so good a job of hiding his eyes with his hat,
Yes.
just like the old show does.
Yes. Oh,
If you can't tell, this is also my number one. So I'm going to just be coming in the
Yes.
middle of his stuff
yeah. So
and
the,
just supporting him because
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah, the animation is just like it's top notch. Oh my god! When you get into the very beginning of the film, you go into the very end of World War II, where you're seeing the conversation between the I think it's the mother and the father
And Bresson.
and Bresson, and it's just like, oh my gosh, be like,
And there was a short minute there I had to double check. It's like I am watching the correct movie because this does not look like what I think of when I think of Lupin the Third.
Exactly, just like the highly detailed sculpt of the faces and like their expressions
It's
and how they
almost too realistic for what it is.
yeah, it goes. It doesn't go into the. It doesn't go into the unfathomable depths of unrealism.
I mean the Uncanny Valley.
the uncanny valley. You know, using that word too. Going into the uncanny valley, but it does a very, very, very good job of keeping with the art style from the 70s and how that art style has kind of stayed with Lupin the Third, or Wolf. I can't help it. Okay, when you say the character was renamed Wolf at some point,
Yes.
okay, he's Lupin Wolf the Third.
Silly name. But anyway,
What tricks are wolf? Tricks are for wolves.
no
Either
Kabuki Crisp. It's for wolves.
exactly. But either way, that all beside, I really enjoy the animation. It was really a joy just to watch there again Lupin the Third come to life in 3D, and to hear that the creator of Lupin the Third, Monkey Punch, was excited to see the pre-production work and to see animatics and see the character come to life. That kind of brings joy to my heart because you get to see an artist. He doesn't get to see the full thing because he died 6 months before the movie film.
Right.
And just that he got to see a little bit of it. It's just like really, really cool because it was one of his like deepest ambitions to get
To see it in 3D.
see it in 3D.
Which honestly, after you see something like Toy Story that first time,
uh-huh.
and let's face it, we all thought 3D was the future, and it was technically.
Yeah.
So I can understand it's like, yeah, we need to adapt this classic thing in there where it's going to look good. But you have to admit, for a while there, 3D animation was not 2D animation in terms of how they did stuff. But this does feel like they used the stretch and stretch and squash.
Yeah, stretch and squash.
Stretch and squash of 2D animation.
Mhm.
There's plenty of points in time where it's like you can tell like they would throw in like he wouldn't stay as the normal model. The model would elongate to allow streams of especially during speedy points.
Oh yeah.
But then at the same time, the so much of like the stuff with the plane and the zero grav, the black hole generator, the Eclipse, felt like it was like a modern 3D like movie.
Oh yeah.
It felt like a modern movie, but yet at the same time, and Zenigata and all these other people, and you're looking at it going, yeah, I like this. This has just got enough mixture of that 2D and the 3D, and it works. There's some issues, but I'll get to them later.
Yeah, exactly. So animation top notch
Yes.
in this film. Be like there's points where it's like, oh my gosh. Be like they did this in this film, and it's like whoa. And my third, like, I'm gonna get there because I love it. They brought this up and it was part of the movie. I was like, oh my gosh, my nerdy history heart went bonkers watching this. So yes, that was my first like is just animation. Mwah. Fresh, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yes. French kiss.
French kiss.
Mwah.
Exactly. What's your verse?
I just talked about my first with you.
Okay, all right.
So now move on to the second.
All right, so moving on to the second as I get my tablet up.
Because otherwise we're just going to be copying each other on that
Exactly.
one. So you said a lot of what I thought. I threw in the additions I wanted.
All right.
I'll throw in one more. Just
All
one more real quick.
Go for it.
To our the third Cagliostro review.
Lupin the Third.
We both lamented the tragedy of what little Goemon got to do in that movie.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Goemon in this movie got it on.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
His character was so well handled, and he got two great parts. And my favorite moment from this movie is going to be that part where he's jumped onto the plane.
Uh-huh.
He does. You see him pull the samurai sword out in that classic samurai move, puts the sword back, jumps back to the plane that they're flying from, and then just as he puts the sword back in, as it always, that's when the whole wig just falls off. I was like, that is the most awesome, epic thing. Thank you, Goemon, for actually getting to do your thing. And then poor Goemon.
Oh my God, it's a sword.
He had to leave the sword behind so they could cross. It's like, well, I'm glad you got it back before you left.
So speaking of my second leg is actually the three trials.
Yes.
In order to get to the device, it's just more like, oh my gosh, it's the one they had to find the eye, and just like all of this, because it's using riddles, and
Yes.
they're using oh crow, what is that? The
Clues.
Yeah, the clues in which to. I'm trying to remember the tablet in which they based it off. It's the oh come on, but either or.
I just know that on that first one, they had to find which one of those eyes was all the other eyes were looking at.
And
then the second one, they had to
exactly
cause the bridge to be built out of the stars
by
Goemon putting down his sword.
And his reaction to it is like, I can't
do
no.
this.
And be like, no, you cannot have my sword.
I'm thinking, Goemon, just pick up the sword as you go across, and then the bridge will probably stay as long as you keep it parallel to that line.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yes,
but it's just like the fact to be like Goemon, just be like, is Goemon, right?
Yeah, it's Goemon.
Goemon. I don't want to say Gobemon.
It's Goemon.
Goemon.
Goemon Ishikawa the 13th, also based on a Japanese equivalent of the Gentleman Thief that Arsène Lupin technically created, but actually also based on a historical character named Goemon Ishikawa.
Really?
Yes. And other information I learned from a video game.
All right, so be like, and then you get to the third and final one, where it's because there again, like the two psychic characters, Goemon and Jigen, yeah, Jigen really don't get to do a whole lot. Except I love Jigen's voice, but he's got this really, really cool, amazing voice. I just really love his. Yeah, who does his voice again?
Richard Epcar.
Richard Epcar. It's I just hear that and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Jigen. But there again, be like, I think of Lupin the Third, Castle of
Cagliostro.
Cagliostro. Thank you. I get tongue tied very easily. Yeah,
it is a European name.
It is very European.
No, I mean it's actually the name of a place in Europe.
Yes.
But anyway,
yeah. So it's more you get to see these two characters shine. They get to do something for a change. And Jigen is like, how are we going to do it? And so it's Lupin trying to figure it out, because he's very a genius character and he's a gentleman thief. So I was like, I think my grandfather did something like this. So he sees his father's cap. Grandfather's cap. Sorry, because there's this historical or the genealogical inheritance of the two characters in this movie that have connections with this. And Jigen is more like, so Lupin takes Jigen's hat and throws it into the laser beams, and it cuts out all the ribbons. Like, hey, my hat. And then Lupin's genius idea, because apparently his grandfather did the exact same thing and shot a line through it and just did all these amazing Lupin stuff. I was like, dude, that's awesome. His little pose when he ends and opens the door. Like, oh my gosh, perfect.
Yes.
It's just, it's very much Lupin, and you get everybody involved. They get to do something for a change. Now, granted, I have not watched all the Lupin the Third movies yet.
Or TV shows for that matter.
TV shows. We'll get there when we get there. But I thoroughly enjoyed those sequences. I thought it was very clever, very well done, and it involved the other characters of the cast. I thought that was fun. So yeah, that's my second.
Well, you touched on mine
Okay.
and yours because I love the connections to Arsène Lupin
Mhm.
that are in this because you get to see, like you said, his top hat
Mm-hmm.
and his cane,
Yes.
things that are very well connected to the character of Arsène Lupin. Which, admittedly, I have meant to go back and go through the books. I just haven't done it yet. The original Arsène Lupin novels by Maurice Leblanc.
Really?
Because they are on Audible. I just haven't done it yet. Because I mean,
Oh.
this is the same guy who they had the gall to have him go up against Sherlock Holmes. When legally he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Now called Sherlock Holmes, except now it doesn't matter because both
Our open
Lupin-
copy right now.
Lupin and Sherlock Holmes are out of copyrights. So the character, anyone can do whatever they want with the characters. But I loved that throwback because when I saw it, the first thing that popped in my mind seeing both of those things was the cover that I had recently looked up because I was tempted to go ahead and get it before I started watching these
Mhm.
and thought, oh yeah, that's exactly that's based almost on the cover art of those books. So I love that they threw that in there, and especially since both our main characters, Letitia and Lupin,
Mm-hmm.
it's about them coming back and connecting to their grandfather's legacies.
Mhm.
Because Lupin, they say that this was the only thing Lupin, the original Arsène Lupin, couldn't steal. That was a cover story. He helped the guy make it. Why would he steal it?
Exactly. I thought that was clever.
Yeah. So yeah, I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the thing. They could still be somewhat mad at the fact that the original creator's estate sued him over this, but they still gave a nice credence, a nice allusion to the original creator, and it was amazing. I enjoyed it immensely. So yeah, that's my first and my second. Like, what's your third?
Okay, my third is like. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, so my third hit my amateur historical funny bone so hard it hurt, but it felt so good. Oh my gosh. So there again, history is history. We shouldn't blot out history because we're offended by it.
Yes.
We learn from our mistakes. We learn from the past in order to grow and make a brighter and better future, right?
And those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
And those who fail to study for their history exam are also doomed to repeat it.
Yeah. So read history, people. This stuff is real. You know, do we really want another Adolf Hitler? No. So yeah, learn about your history. So either or. What my third was the fact that they were not shy in any shape, form, or fashion of bringing up the Nazi regime, bringing up the very end of World War II. World War II. There hasn't been a World War III yet. Hopefully there never is. The Third Reich and Adolf Hitler. They say these names throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and there's never a point where you think, oh, they'll shy away from it. You think you're watching through this. There's no way they're actually going to show Adolf Hitler. And you see the pictures, like, okay, that's probably doctored. And there's no way they're actually going to have hired two voice actors, one Japanese and one English, to voice Adolf Hitler.
They did.
It's like, how did you sell this to the animation company? It's like, we've got to have a 3D model of Adolf Hitler. 70-year-old Adolf Hitler, but Adolf Hitler.
And also to think that Japan was a part of the
Axis
powers during World War II. So it's interesting they did that. The idea that they were not shy, they were not afraid to use history. The fact to be like you have your overzealous devotee to Hitler keeps calling him the Führer the entire time.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's never a point where it's like, oh yeah, it's Hitler, we hate Hitler. And yeah, they hate Hitler. All the good guys hate Hitler because they put Adolf Hitler as the ultimate villain.
Exactly.
And but the good thing I thought they did with this was they even portrayed his both Lambert and Ricard,
Yeah,
whatever the other guy is,
yeah, Ricard.
they actually explained their point of view, and
Yeah.
without them just being mindless Nazi drones. They
Just
actually
thugs, yeah.
created these two characters with a good reasons as to why they
Yeah,
believed
exactly.
in what Hitler said, and why they severely were hoping that Hitler actually was down there
Mhm.
in South America. They actually were respectful enough to create a good story, even though it
Exactly.
dealt with these nastier elements that
Yeah,
we
nasty
like
part of
to
history.
not think about, but they were there.
Exactly. That's what I
And-
applaud the animation theme for this.
And honestly, if you can't have communists as your villains, Nazis are a good choice.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like when they finally get down there to where Adolf Hitler is, I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it. They made an Adolf Hitler character sitting in a wheelchair,
which
And I'm
makes
like,
sense.
Wait
Which
a
makes
minute.
sense
It
after
makes
that.
sense. It makes sense.
And I'm the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, is that really Adolf Hitler? And I don't know at what point I realized that had to be Arsène Lupin the third. But I know I realized that before they got her back to realizing that Zenigata and the crew
Oh yeah.
are there. As like I knew before it was even implied that had to be Lupin in the thing. As the whole time look, because I know at some point I recognized it, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be good.
So
And I loved the vocal transition from
oh
the
yeah,
guy who played Hitler to the guy to Lupin. It's like, oh, that
Oh.
works.
Oh darn.
And then of course they actually ask the question, well, if that wasn't Hitler, where is he?
Oh yeah.
Did you read your history? He died a long time ago. Like, of course he did.
Oh, okay. So the point where Lupin reveals himself, he's not Hitler, he's actually himself because he's a master of disguise, and it was something like, oh, this was a phony by the FBI back in the 70s, or a couple of years ago,
60, 70, somewhere in
60s,
there.
70s, in order to root out Nazi sympathizers. And truth is, historically, the FBI did that. They actually did that. They planted fake photos, the whole bit, to bring out
Mhm.
Nazi sympathizers and
Well, and-
those who were part of the Third Reich
And we do know
in
there are
Latin America.
and we do know there are there were plenty of Nazis, not former Nazis, that fled to South America.
Yeah, there was also there was the theory that Adolf Hitler did survive the fact that when Berlin fell, Joseph Stalin led to believe that the Allied powers that Hitler did survive and went to Latin America.
Yeah.
And so that's where all these theories came up. So back in the 60s and 70s, there was this big boom that Adolf Hitler was still alive and he was in Latin America. So when they brought that up, I'm like, boom! Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because I love World War II. I'm a big nut about that kind of stuff.
World War II history, let's say.
Yeah, World War II history. Let's say that history, and just learning about different things and why do bad people do bad things. And I find that very fascinating because I'm a true crime nut as well. So I think it's why me and my girlfriend kind of connect in some ways. Because we're both no, you think?
Really?
Hi, Ashley. So yeah, just I found that very interesting. They did not shy away from the hard truths, the hard problems that you would simply in the modern society that, oh my gosh, we're offended by everything. No, it's like, you know what? We're going to talk about history. We're going to talk about things that really happened in history, and we're going to play it like it's history. And I applaud them for that.
It's called historical fiction.
Exactly.
Well, historical science fiction, because
Yeah.
we do have a black hole generator
That's true. That makes
from a extinct ancient civilization that may or may not have ties to aliens, I think.
yeah.
They don't really explain a whole lot about
that is true. Oh
Which
no,
they didn't need to explain a lot of that. But
And-
anyway,
yeah, that made me think of, oh no, they pulled kind of a Indiana Jones 4
Oh, you mean Indiana Jones the fan film?
Yeah, whatever.
The movie. Yeah, that's what I mean. The movie that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
according to a certain retro rewinder.
Okay.
You know, Indiana Jones and the film that shall not be named.
Apparently.
Actually, I don't care. I ain't. There's a reason the phrase "nuke the fridge" exists now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly. So my third like is that the director, the producers, the animators were not shy with talking about history.
Yes.
So there again, if you want to nuke history, don't do it. Because otherwise we will get another Adolf Hitler. And you won't know it until it's too late. So learn your history, people. Case closed.
My third like to
Yes.
move on.
Yes.
I agree with you that I liked that everybody had an important part to play in the story, even if it was small.
Yes.
Because here's the thing: they gave every single person in Lupin's party is important to the thing, even if they only got to do very little,
Exactly.
including Zenigata.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Payback is sweet.
That was funny.
That was
Yes.
so much funny.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense that you would keep everyone from Lupin's party going. So even though for a while there you thought, well, this was our excuse to show, at the very beginning, this was our excuse to show Jigen and Goemon. They're going to go away now because, there's no money to be made in this. They kind of hint at that, but I was still sitting going, oh yeah, they'll be back before the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, easy.
And of course, they come back halfway through the movie and are there for the rest of it. It's like, and they go, and then my favorite part where they say, there is only one man who we can guarantee will be here at a moment's notice as long as he knows where we are. And it looks like, and they shout, and it looks like he just shouts to the sky, "Hey, Zenigata!" And it's like, boom, right there. It's like, you called him. Okay.
Just
There is some logic that makes sense here, but you still have to wonder, why did Lupin call you? Because there's no way if he wants to be actually caught. But yeah, he gets a role to play. The entire thing with Interpol comes in.
Oh my
Interpol
gosh.
works with the great thief Arsène Lupin III,
Yes.
which is great. Because
Exactly.
otherwise Zenigata would not be able to interact at the end of this movie. Because there's not the only reason, admittedly there's Interpol, but
Right.
still, that's how it's taking place on they got there because of Interpol.
Exactly.
But I mean, Jigen plays a big role. Goemon, like I said earlier, gets to play a big role. Fujiko gets to play a great role because she steals the thing at the beginning, and then she's right there to help them get out of it at the end. It's like, I love you, Fujiko. You're like, there's a reason that you are the Bond girl for this entire franchise, and you always escape because unlike Bond girls, you're not stupid. Or not destined to die anyway.
Exactly.
And I love how she got out of the hold, where the plane that has the biplane with the retractable wings.
Yes.
Which I'm sitting there going, is that real? Does that sort of thing actually exist? Do I actually care if this exists? No, because it's awesome. And she just pushes the thing out and flies away. And Lupin's like, hey, don't leave me behind. Oh, you'll catch up.
Literally.
But even, of course, it's obvious that Letitia would get to play a big role in it because she's, a major character. But here's the thing: think back to Castle Cagliostro. The princess from that movie,
Yes,
didn't really get to play a big role, even though she was partly needed to help to open up the vault to where the treasure was. Quote unquote, the treasure was. It was archaeological treasure, but not really money and gold.
True.
Of course, this wasn't really money and gold either, but anyway. She actually got to play a big role in this as compared to the other times the guest lady was in the
Mhm.
movie, even though the thought still was, you shouldn't get into this sort of lifestyle if you don't need to.
Very true.
But everybody got to play a role in this, even if it was a small role. Like, it was much better than how Castle Cagliostro treated some of its characters. I'm looking at you, Goemon.
Mm.
Where like he had one line, and it was uncredited. The actor was uncredited for that line, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to do so much more in this. Every character was important getting in through the trials. Every character was important in capturing Gerard and, well, what was left of Lambert.
Right.
And the villain and Gerard got his due in the end. It's like there's almost nothing, it would seem, to complain about this movie. So on that note, Jacob,
Yes.
what's your first dislike?
My first dislike. Now, if I could do this live, it'd be amazing. But the lip sync, I mean, like the lip sync for most of the characters were very well done.
Yes,
very well
I
done.
agree.
And they were two that were like how expressive these characters are. I could see why this would be more of a problem, primarily with Lupin.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a big mouth.
just a little
by
bit.
nature.
Like this big, enormous mouth. His expressions are like, "Hey, this kind
a little over the top.
little
let's
over the
say.
top." So you had this like this lip flap to get the sync right. Was like there were points where it's like he would talk, but then his mouth would continue to move because they couldn't fill the lip flap complete. So I found that it was a little annoying, but understanding that this is a Lupin the Third is a very unique character. He's a very expressive character.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he has a Joker face. Let's say
yeah.
that.
And let's face it, one thing that's interesting about most localizations, most of the lip flaps are based on the Japanese
Mhm.
thing. So when you've got one of these moments where you've got a character whose mouth has gone huge, most of the time they're doing that because in the Japanese version there's one syllable they're drawing out.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when you go put that in English, the word that you're actually drawing out may not hit where the lip flap has the draw
Mhm.
out, and that's what causes that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've seen that on like even the new version of Dragon Ball Z when they did Kai.
Mhm.
Krillin had the same problem early on in that,
Really?
on a scene where no matter what the voice actor does, it really doesn't. The word that hits there does not fit in how he draws it out, and it sounds odd. But yeah,
But
here I thought it worked a little bit better than that. But I mean,
It
yeah,
did.
it's still one of those things where you look at and go, that could have been tightened up a little bit. If this was made in America, made with an English dub, it would have fit better.
yeah.
And probably in the Japanese version, it does fit better.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the Japanese version, so I don't know.
I almost watched the Japanese version. Almost. But I found that just was like, oh, okay, the lip flaps are a little bit off. But there again, you're talking about, very expressive characters, definitely with Lupin. And his expressions are more extremely animated. So yeah, I give it a pass, but at the same time, it's just more like there again, like Drew said, be like it could have been tightened up a little more, but overall, I still enjoyed the Lupin as a character. But yeah, it's my first dislike. What's yours?
My first dislike is the fact that the art style that they used for this, its translation into the 3D, along with some of the animations, reminded me of a 3D TV show from like the early 2000s, and not in a good way.
Okay.
You know the TV show Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius?
Yeah.
And how if you pause in just the right spot, well, sometimes when the characters move, it really feels like they're giant mascot heads.
Yeah.
There's some moments of that throughout this entire movie,
I can see that.
both with the original Monkey Punch characters and the new characters.
Yeah.
Where it's times just like because of the big heads and the expressive faces,
Mm-hmm.
it sometimes feels like the head is not really animating with the mouth movement sometimes.
Okay.
There are moments where it's like, oh, the budget didn't allow us to do this correctly with the technology we have.
Gotcha.
What the effect we're going for, but we're trying. And I say it has this Jimmy Neutron effect because it reminded me of that show where, you know, some of those animations, while it was good for cheap television,
Mm-hmm.
leave much to be desired in terms of style.
Yeah.
This doesn't get quite that bad,
Yeah.
but there are moments where I look at it and go, I kind of wish this was tightened, like I said earlier, tightened up better, or
Yeah.
you allowed the heads to have more elasticity in order to actually do what you're trying to do, but you can't let it do that because your heads are all have to stay the same size. It doesn't quite fit sometimes, and that's really what throws me off. So yeah, it's that mannequin, it's that not mannequin, but that mascot head issue
I gotcha.
that, you know, other things have had in the past. Looking at you, Sonic the Hedgehog. But anyway, not the movie, the games.
I gotcha.
What's your second dislike?
All right. So my second dislike, there again, it's trying to translate the 70 style Lupin the Third animation style to a 3D environment. And sometimes, definitely when you're dealing with a fully rendered, very almost hyper realistic scenes, and you have character like Lupin moving around,
who moves like a monkey.
He does move like a monkey. So sometimes it doesn't really jive.
Yeah.
It's like in some cases where it'd be like he's moving and like G gonna move, or like all the other characters, they move and be like they move like the characters like they did in the animation. So it's, you know, like I don't know if they, you know, did it on 2s or 1s back then, but I presume it was on 2s.
Back then it probably would have been on 2s.
Yeah.
This is my second dislike also, so I'm going to kind of talk with you on this.
Yeah.
The problem here isn't that, you know, the animation isn't, you know, smooth, or it's too smooth or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's the fact that this look, while it looks good in 2D, doesn't translate to 3D very well. I mean, there's points in time where Lupin's walking around with his arms at like 90-degree angles because that's how the character walked in the animation, in the cartoon, in the original show.
Yeah.
And I look at it and go, that doesn't quite work. Or there's some times when, like, when Zenigata is, you know, shouting Lupin,
yeah,
and his legs are at awkward angles for real life, but would have fit fine in a 2D show.
Yeah,
it's obviously that's what they're trying to replicate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't quite work in this environment. It's
right.
The art in the art style and the animation style in places almost don't gel correctly, which is odd when you consider both the art style and the animation style is trying to be reminiscent of the previous shows and the previous movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's perhaps, admittedly, you know, we talked about, you know, how the other characters have a more realistic look than the Monkey Punch characters.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'd have kept more of a looser animation style with everybody, if it would look better.
Yeah.
And it would fit better. But yeah, that's that I think that's what that issue is.
All right. So my third and final dislike of this film would be a lot of your background characters. Definitely in Inspector Zenigata, Professor Zenigata, like in Zenigata's
Inspector Zenigata.
Yes, his name.
You said professor, so
yes,
I thought you were about to talk about Bresson.
No. But be like, you have like these background characters. Be like the thugs that are Godwit, not Godwit. Sorry, our main bad guy.
Gerard?
Gerard. Yeah, like Gerard's character, like his henchmen, be like they're done very well, they're done in the style, but I don't recall if the inspectors, all his henchmen, be like they look like they're like half done 3D characters in some
Mhm.
cases. Definitely towards the end where they're riding by in the boat and they all give the
Oh yeah, Zenigata's men.
yeah, Zenigata's men. Be like they're all just very, I don't want to say generic, but they feel a little too.
They are generic. They're supposed to look generic.
Yeah, that's true. But also the kind of in the same way that like they look a little too plasticky. And there's certain
Yeah.
points where like fabric, definitely Lupin's jacket in so many cases look like it's a plastic jacket.
Which is weird because it's supposed to look like smooth leather,
Yeah.
reflective leather almost.
Yeah, but in that same way, be like definitely like how it's lit and
Mhm.
maybe how the folds work, because maybe it's how it's textured. It looks like plastic. So sometimes, and then it looks great in others.
Yeah, but it's weird looking when you consider that these are more cartoony characters, but then you have these semi-realistic
Yeah.
textures on their clothing. I mean, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a better way to put it than that.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It's like I said, it's what I was talking about earlier, where it seems like they're trying to be both realistic 3D and cartoony at the same time, and it doesn't quite work. You need to either go all one way or all the other way.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just
I'm not saying you need to do like Into the Spider-Verse, where it's 2D characters kind of in a 3D environment for the most part, but or at 2.5D, but here it's almost like it's 3D.
Yeah,
for what it is.
Yeah, in some cases, yes.
But anyway,
yeah. So just those were all little nitpicks about this film. Just to me, they were nitpicks.
Yeah.
And there again, I still thoroughly enjoyed this film.
Oh yes.
What's your third dislike?
So this is also a nitpick. They talked about how that black hole generator, and they definitely show it off as a weapon throughout the whole film.
Oh yeah.
You know what? They only just barely mention at one point that it could be used to create unlimited energy.
Yeah.
But what in that setup looked like they could use that to power anything?
That is true. What is the tail going and just sticking to things and power it up?
Well, no, I mean, I would assume that you would be using like the energy from the black hole, like the gravity, to like run a generator of some kind.
Yeah.
If you could replicate the technology, you could, because if you could use that black hole energy in a very, I'm assuming in a very controlled environment, I can see how it would do that. But there is nothing in the way that's set up that tells me that it was ever intended for anything but a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just mean that, the aliens or whomever created it. I'm sorry, this looks more alien than
it does.
Ancient civilization that somehow was more advanced than the current civilization. That sort of thing never gelled with me. So I'm going with aliens because that really fits this better.
Indiana Jones 4.
Shut up. They never really, it's not that just that the aliens maybe only use this as a weapon. It doesn't look like the animators ever thought of this device as anything more than a weapon.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to use this to power electricity?
Yeah, that's true.
Electricity generation or any other form of power generation. And maybe not the black hole generator part of it. Maybe there's got to be some sort of power source in there that if they can study it, maybe. But they don't ever talk about that. The idea that it could be used for that is mentioned very briefly in one scene near the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest of the movie, it's a weapon they have to stop from being found.
Pretty much.
And a part of me goes, let's not do that. If you either, and granted, this may not have been the Japanese version, but if that line hadn't have been there and it was just this horrible weapon that you got to stop the Nazis from getting a hold of, that's all I need.
Yeah,
I don't need. It could be this weapon. It could be this way to create an infinite energy, you know, power of the sun in the palm of my hand sort of thing. I don't need that if you're not going to show that.
Yeah.
Show how it could be used for that. All you show is how it's a weapon, and you don't really show how it could be anything but a weapon. Now,
Agreed.
granted, the part that they get to is just the weapon. There could have been more in that depending on how it was used, maybe, but they never talk about that. No one even mentions, it's too bad we had to blow that thing up, because that could have saved us a bunch of, we could have gone, quit using the fossil fuels and all the pollution of the planet. Yeah, I knew from the very beginning it was just going to be, we're not worthy to have this energy because mankind is never worthy for advancement too fast. Plus, this was a movie made in 2019 about an event that happened in the 70s that obviously did not occur IRL. So you have to explain why it didn't occur IRL. Of course, it wasn't going to work.
Exactly.
But, and granted, like I said, I think that's the fault of the English translation, but they never go into any sort of discussion of how, or even remorse that they could not use it as an energy source.
Okay.
Even though it could have been an infinite energy source.
Gotcha.
From what they said at that one line briefly at one point in the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Gotcha.
That's my third dislike, which
All right.
brings us to the end of our review. So we need to rate this thing.
You go first.
I'm giving it a 7.5.
Really?
Yeah, it's the animation stuff that's kind of knocking it down a little, because the combination of the animation and the art.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they don't really gel very well together. But I enjoyed the movie, and I really am thinking of watching more Lupin the Third when I get the chance.
I gotcha.
So yeah, that's what I'm rating it, 7.5. What are you rating it?
I'm gonna rate it a little higher. I'm gonna rate it 8.5 because I really enjoy the animation, even though be like, yeah, there are some, it doesn't really gel with the technology, and there's certain little aspects here and there that are a little like a little bit. But there again, those are nitpicks. Be like, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed its story. I enjoyed that they touch on history. And I love that when people do that about things and not shy away from history, not shy away like, ooh, that was something we want to forget about. No, let's, talk about it. And I really enjoy that. That really brings conversation up, and healthy conversations. There again, I'm a history nerd. I'm a very advocate of history, of teaching history, not bleeding it out. So yeah, 8.5. I really enjoyed this film.
All right. That brings us to announcing what our next film is going to be.
Yes.
And as it sits right now, I still need to double check that he's still good with this. But next week, we are reviewing with our good friend Josh Adams.
Yes.
The film Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Pika. And our trivia question for that one is going to be, approximately how many years have passed between this movie and Pokemon the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back?
Jeez. I'm thinking, hold on.
Don't answer.
I'm not.
Don't answer. So
I will keep my Pokeballs to myself.
Good idea. So join us next week as we get in on that. You have anything else before we end in the show?
No, but it looks like never mind.
Getting to that, but not in the recorded part.
Gotcha.
Be lit, be nice. All right. So in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Lupin! Mika! Anyway, that's the end of the show. Dila, give me a marker. Thank you. And we got rated right here at the very end by Geek Devotions.
Yay!
How are y'all guys doing? As y'all can tell, we just finished reviewing Lupin the Third, the First. I will be posting the trivia question I just talked about for Pokemon Detective Pikachu probably tomorrow. But how are y'all doing? How was Kirby? What I've played of Kirby has been good. You'll hear them Saturday, Dallas. It should be out sometime that day. I'm tired.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I guess I need to be looking for somebody to raid then,
Yeah.
because we're at the end of the show and I don't really have much else to talk about.
I gotcha.
So I guess I'm going to send y'all over to Book of Gaming. I think he says he's just chatting tonight. So yeah, thank y'all for joining us, even here at the very tail end. Saturday, I will be playing some more Super Mario RPG. Next Monday, some more Dragon Quest XI. And then next Tuesday, with Josh Adams, we are going to be reviewing Pokemon Detective Pikachu. So join us for that. In the meantime, we will see y'all later.
Thanks, guys.
Did it go? Well, I gotta wait for the thing.
Oh, the
It's
counter.
almost there.
Raid.
Yeah, I think it went now.
Excellent. Oh, he's reading out of Ephesians.
No, he's just got. I think that's his like away from camera thing.
Oh, okay.
That says Colossians, actually.
Oh, that is Colossians.
Oh, it's Colossians here, but Ephesians here. Yeah, he is reading right now. Okay, stopping the recording. Bye, Facebook and